Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today on Level Up for DevOps, we will talk about the most important Terraform commands. In this session, we will cover the commands that you use the most frequently when working with Terraform. Whether you are new to Terraform or an experienced user, these commands are essential for you. So, without wasting any more time, let's get started. In the last session, what we did was we created the EC2 instance using Terraform. And this was our configuration. So we had the Terraform required providers block. Then we have a provider block that is for AWS, where we mentioned our region, access key, and the secret key. So if you have not seen that video, then please watch that, because that is one of the most important videos where we have discussed about providers and how to start off with creating an EC2 instance using Terraform. And then this is the resource block for our EC2 instance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with that again, and I'll show you how to deploy that, and I'll show you some of the commands that are important for you when learning Terraform and while working with Terraform as well. And here, the first step for us is to do a Terraform. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete those things, .terraform also. I'll just delete those folders that were created when we actually tried to apply those changes. So let's just delete it. So first thing that we have to do is we have to initialize this. So to initialize this, we are going to use a command that is terraform init. So there's terraform init. There's to initialize the provider that we have and to actually download that. Remember, the first step for you when starting off with this is using terraform init. Let's hit enter. So it will try to initialize that for the providers that we have. It will download the plugins necessary, and post that we will be able to use AWS provider. Now, as you can see, Terraform has created a log file. Include this file in your version control repository so that Terraform can guarantee to make the same selection by default when you run Terraform init in the future. So this is very important. So don't delete that. Once we have executed the Terraform init command, then you can see we have the .terraform folder created. Now, as we have already written the configuration, so the first thing would be to do a Terraform plan to see what exactly we are going to apply. So just type terraform plan. Now you can see we have this plan ready for us. So it is going to create a EC2 instance, and this is going to be the AMI. That is what we have mentioned here. This is the same AMI it will take, and it will use the t2.micro instance. So the second thing that we have to do here is we have to apply these changes. So once we have planned it, so you can see we have one to add. Now what we are going to do is we are going to just So when you hit apply, it will ask you for the confirmation whether you want to apply these changes. So it is telling the same thing. So it is just giving us a preview again, and it is telling us that one to add. So we will just hit yes, or we'll just type yes and hit enter. Now the changes are complete. We have applied the changes. And if you go there to the EC2 console, if you just refresh this, so you can see this new instance has been created. So this is the new instance. And if you go ahead and see the tag, it'll be demo, a Terraform demo instance. So once we have applied these changes, you can see we have a new file that is tf state file. So this is basically to show the changes that we have made. This is the current state. And there are two states in Terraform that you need to always ensure that they match. One is the current state and one is the desired state. The desired state is always the configuration that you have, and the current state is the state at which your infrastructure is at. So this is my current state. So this instance is running, and this is my desired state. As I already told you that Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool where you can actually manage the lifecycle of this particular resource that you create. You can as well update it, and you can also delete it. So let's see how we can update this. So this is the instance. I will just go to the tags, and I'll modify the tag, and I will delete this instance part from here and just save it. So now the current state and the desired state has a difference. And if I do a Terraform plan, it should basically show me those differences. So let's do a Terraform plan. Now you can see once we have done the Terraform plan, what it is saying is AWS instance or Terraform instance demo or demo instance will be updated in place. So this is the resource, and this is the ID, in which the tag name that we have here is Terraform demo, and it will be updated to Terraform demo instance. And no other changes can be found, and you can see one to change. Previously, when we were creating this particular instance, it was trying to tell us that one to add because we are creating it and there was one resource that we were going to create. So it was saying, so it was giving the count as 1. And now also the change that you see here, update in place, it is also 1. So that is why it is saying 1 to change. Now what we need to do, we need to just do a Terraform apply and then it will apply those changes. Just hit yes or just type yes and hit enter. So now it is modifying the instance. So the main idea and the main objective of Terraform is to have a balance between the current state and the desired state. So it is trying to balance that. It should not be like the current state will be different and the desired state will be different. We don't want that. Now you can see 1 changed. And if we go back to the instance and refresh this, now you can see the name has changed back to Terraform instance, demo instance. So if you just type Terraform destroy, it is going to delete all the resources that you have created using that particular configuration and the ones that are there in the state file itself. So if you just type Terraform destroy and hit enter, I'll just clear this so that you can see it better. Terraform destroy. So it will destroy the infrastructure that was created with Terraform. Just hit enter. Now you can see it is saying I'm going to delete everything that was created and these are all the values that are associated to it. So just hit enter by typing yes. Now you can see it has deleted the resource. Let's go back to the EC2 console and let's refresh this. So now IDs are matching now because it is not running anymore. It is terminated. Let's do a plan again. And we can see it is trying to create the new resource for us because we have the configuration for that itself. Let's just create it. And you can actually give -auto approve so that you don't have to type yes anymore while it is previewing those changes. So Terraform apply -auto approve. So now it is not asking us to type yes and then we need to hit enter. It is just directly creating the instance because we have given this command Terraform apply -auto approve. Now one of the resources is again created. Let's go back and let's refresh this. So now a new instance is created. You can use a Terraform show command to show the current infrastructure state as a Terraform plan. So if you just type Terraform show, it will show you the current state. This is the current state of that particular instance that we have or the resource that we have for which the configuration has been written. And I'm just giving you some of the examples here. These are not in-depth analysis of each of these commands. I'm just showing you some of the basic commands or the important commands that you might use in your daily task. So this should be helpful in order to show basically like what exactly these commands do. Sometimes when we are writing Terraform code, it is very difficult to manage such a huge resource block. So sometimes what happens is there might be mistakes that we could do. Let's suppose we missed adding SEC and we did a syntax error, and let's suppose we missed a here, and let's suppose we missed a I here. So these are basic mistakes. So in order to see whether the whole configuration that you have written is proper or not or valid or not, you have a command that can help you do that. So that command is Terraform validate. And this validate command will validate the syntax of the current configuration file that you have. So just type enter after typing Terraform validate. And you can see it is giving secret key is not expected here. Do you mean secret key? Yes, I made a mistake there. So I'll go ahead and correct it. And let's save it. And again, I'll do a validate for this until and unless I get the proper pass and success message from this validate command. Okay, the second mistake was AWS instance where I missed out adding a I here. I'll just add it. I'll do a validate again. Let's save it. Let's run this once again. Now you can see success. The configuration is valid. So this actually helps you to validate the current configuration file that you have written for syntax errors or any error that Terraform actually is not finding it suitable for deployment. So that is a very important thing. So let's suppose what happens is, if you do this, if you make a mistake here by not adding E, so this is a valid error. Now if you go back and don't do this validate, and directly if you go and plan this, you will get this error here as well. But it is always advisable to perform a Terraform validate and then move ahead to the Terraform plan. Now once it is validated, it is success, then you can go ahead and do the Terraform plan. And sometimes what happens is, while updating the code or while performing any Git operations, sometimes the syntaxes or these line arrangements or the way we actually write get disturbed. So this looks wrong, isn't it? But if you go ahead and do a Terraform validate, it will not throw any errors because it is syntactically correct and Terraform can understand that line. But as a human readable form, it is not looking very good. So there is a format command as well, which actually formats the configuration file in a consistent style. So this is also very important, because when you send your code for review, the reviewer might have problems because that code is not properly styled. So for this, what we can do is we can just type Terraform fmt. I'll just show you once I hit the command how it actually changes. I'll keep it here and I'll just hit enter. See, it has changed back to the state it was meant to. So this is also a very important command, that is Terraform fmt. Now the next one is, sometimes what happens in Terraform, what we want is, once we have all these resources, we need some outputs to basically capture them so that we can move ahead and use them in the later operations. So this option is very important and very useful. So you can actually output the values that you want once you have deployed the configuration. So in order to do that, you have to write a block which is for output, and which looks something like this: output space the instance IP address, that is the name of that particular output variable. The value is basically AWS instance.tf demo instance.private IP. So what I'm trying to do here is, I'm trying to find out the private IP address of the main server instance. So once it is deployed, it should basically give me the values of that particular Terraform instance private IP. Now let's do a Terraform plan again. Now you can see this is telling changes to output instance IP address known after apply. So this is one thing that we will get to know after we applied the changes and we install that or we deploy that instance, because before that you cannot calculate the private IP because that instance does not exist. So what you need to do is, now you need to just type Terraform apply -auto approve. Don't do auto approve until and unless you are sure that what you're doing is correct. So always make sure that you do a Terraform apply without doing auto approve. Here we are just deploying one resource, so it is fine. Let's wait for it to create this instance and we can see the output as well. Now you can see once the instance has been created, this output is showing the IP address, the private IP address of that particular instance IP address. And that is what we had given in the configuration as well. Now let's go back and type another command, Terraform output. So Terraform output shows the output values of the completed Terraform run. So once you have executed them, and this is just one, so you are able to easily understand this. So if suppose there are a lot of plans that you have executed and there are a lot of configurations that you have run, and there are a lot of instances or resources that you have already deployed, and you want to see the output values, then you can just type Terraform output and hit enter. And you can see the output value here, instance IP address. Now you can see that we have the state file, and this is what helps us maintain the state. So if the instance already exists, if I do a Terraform plan, then what it is going to show? It is going to show that no changes, your infrastructure matches the configuration. And as I already told you, you can do a Terraform show to basically list out all the configuration that you have deployed and the state file and what the state file actually has. So this is the output and this is the current state of that particular completed run. So this shows the current infrastructure state as a Terraform plan. Sometimes what happens is we delete these Terraform state files. Oh my God, we have deleted this. Now what will happen? So here, if I type a Terraform plan or type the command Terraform plan, it is going to deploy that instance once again. See, it is trying to deploy it because it is saying plan 1 to add. In this case, what we can do. So in this case, what you need to do is, if you have that instance ID or the resource ID that you're trying to deploy using the configuration file, you can take that IP address. Now that you don't have any state file, you don't have any resource that you can do. If you do a Terraform show here, it'll show no state. So that's the problem here. So go back to the instance that you have. And here you have this instance ID. So just copy this instance ID. Now what we can do is we can actually restore the state file using a command that I'm going to tell you. So that command is Terraform import. And what Terraform import does is it imports an existing infrastructure resource into your Terraform state. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just type Terraform space import space the resource type, that is AWS underscore instance dot the name of the reference that we want to give for the state for that particular resource, that is TF demo instance space, you can give the ID that you have copied. So we go back to the EC2 instance. This is the running instance. We'll just refresh this. So we'll click on this one and we'll copy this instance ID and we'll just paste it here. So once we have pasted it, we are going to see a state file being created, and in that we'll get the resource that we want imported onto our local machine. Just hit enter and see the magic. See, AWS instance dot Terraform demo instance import prepared. Now it has successfully imported it. The resources that were imported are shown below. These resources are now in your Terraform state and will henceforth be managed by Terraform. So you can manage your existing resource using Terraform by just importing them. So this is one of the most important commands that I feel, because this makes life so easy. Because if you want to manage infrastructure using Terraform and you don't have that state file already present in your local Terraform workspace, then you can as well import it. So that's a very beautiful thing to have. Now if you go back to TF state file, you can see the whole Terraform state file being populated with that particular data. Now you can see this is populating the output as well because the configuration has it. Now let's do a Terraform plan and see if it is matching the infrastructure resource or not. Yes, it does. Now sometimes what happens is we have a change in the infrastructure, and this is the change. Let's suppose I change it. I'll make it required change. I'll change it to required change, Terraform required change, and I'll save it. Now what happens is the value of the current state and the desired state is different. Let's go back and let's do a Terraform plan. You can see it will tell that it is going to update it because it is not matching the current state. So in this case, let's do a CLS and let's do a Terraform command, refresh. So what refresh is actually trying to do is it is trying to update the state file to match the actual infrastructure. Now let us see the state file again and we'll see what value it has for the tag. It has changed it to Terraform required change. It was previously Terraform demo instance because the main.tf has Terraform demo instance, but now the state file is having Terraform required change. So now it has refreshed the state file using the current infrastructure. Now let us do a Terraform plan. But if you do a Terraform plan, let me know if it is going to show that update operation again or not. This is the very big experiment. Let's do a Terraform plan. See, it is still showing this because why? Because the configuration that we have here is telling that this is the proper tag that we need to have. As the infrastructure state says that it is Terraform required change, it is trying to manually change it because that's what plan does. But one thing you have to remember about Terraform refresh is that this command is deprecated now because its default behavior is unsafe if you have misconfigured credentials for any of your providers. So that is what I wanted to say, because you shouldn't typically need to use this command because Terraform automatically performs the same refreshing actions as a part of creating the plan. So in both the plan and apply commands, they perform the same operation. So you don't need to do this, but I just wanted to show you that you can do this as well. So now what happens is if you perform a Terraform apply here, it is telling that I want to update it. So let's give it no. I don't want this. What you can do here as well, you can just type terraform apply hyphen refresh only. No changes. Terraform has checked the real state object, still matches the result of your recent changes and found no difference. Apply complete, no changes found. Because if it is trying to apply the refresh state only, then it is not going to find any difference because both the sites have the same thing. So it is not advisable to use this command anymore, but I wanted to just show you that these are some of the operations that you can also perform. Now the changes have been applied. Go back to EC2, refresh this, and you can see this name changing to Terraform demo instance. See, it has changed. Now let's copy this resource block. So let's suppose we are having a requirement to create another resource. So this will be my Terraform demo instance 1 and this will be my Terraform demo instance 2. Both of them are having the same AMI ID, and I'll just create this using t1.micro. So this is instance 2. I'll mark it as 2 and here I'll give it as 1. Now I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it here because this will throw an exception then. And I'll just copy it once again, IP address 2. And just modify this again. So this is my output for the instance 1 and this is the output for the instance 2. Let's save it and let's run a Terraform plan. Here now it should show that 2 to add. Now these two output values you can see, IP address 1, IP address 2. And there will be a long list of values. If you just see, if you're just creating 2 instances, it is showing so much of values here. Imagine deploying the whole architecture. We'll be having a lot of values. So now we can just apply it and just type yes and hit enter. Now it is creating 2 instances. So 2 to add. Now these 2 instances are created and these 2 are the output values. So these are the 2 private IP addresses of the instances that we have created. Let's go to the EC2 instance console and refresh this. Now this is demo instance 1 and this is demo instance 2. Sometimes what happens is one of the instances might get corrupted, or due to vulnerabilities it might get exposed or something, and we would want to remove this, but we don't want to deploy the whole thing again. We are going to use a command that can help us replace it, which is basically your Terraform taint command. So it is Terraform, and this command is also deprecated. I'm just showing you that some of the differences that you might have between versions of Terraform. So I just wanted to show this as well. So this command is deprecated, and for Terraform version 0.15.2, Terraform recommends using -replace option while Terraform apply instead of using this taint command. So in order to do this taint command, or in order to use this taint command, what we are going to do is we are going to mark that particular instance as tainted. So how we can do that? So in order to do this, what we can do is we can just type Terraform space taint space. Let's suppose the second instance is corrupted. Now what happens is I'm going to mark this instance as tainted, or mark this resource as tainted. Tainted in, let's suppose you want to tell in this, let's suppose you want to understand this in Hindi, it would be like इस पे दाग लग गया है. So इस instance पे दाग लग गया है मतलब ये अभी अच्छा नहीं रहा, इस पे काला दाग लग गया है, काला धब्बा हो गया है हमारे लिए. So we need to replace this. So let's just taint it. So resource instance aws_instance.tf demo instance 2 has been marked as tainted. Now what happens is we can just perform a Terraform plan to verify the same. See, now it is telling plan is 1 to add, 0 to change, and 1 to destroy. So it will, what it is going to do is it is going to replace the instance. So it is going to replace it in the same place itself. Same place in the sense, like, you have to understand that is trying to replace in the sense it is trying to delete it and create a new one. With that same, it is going to remain the same Terraform demo instance 2, but it will replace the instance that we have. And this is the output value. It is going to change because it is going to create a new instance. That is why it is showing that this IP address 2, which is having this value, it is going to change, and post which we'll know the value that has been created. We can do here is we can just do Terraform apply. Once we hit yes, we can see the changes there. Now it is destroying ID 053BF9. So 053BF9 is from Terraform demo instance 2. So let's refresh this. So it is shutting down this, and we'll see it should create a new one as well. Now you can see it is creating. Let's go back and refresh this. See, it is pending now. So this new instance has been created, that is Terraform demo instance 2. And just for this instance, we don't want to redeploy the whole architecture or infrastructure. We can just replace this instance using the Terraform taint command. Let's do a refresh again. So now you can see both the instances are running. Command prompt, and we can see one has added, one has been destroyed. So this is a very handy command, and it is very helpful as well when you're working with infrastructure and you just want to replace one of the resources. You don't want to redeploy everything once again. So that's a very good thing for us. As I already told you, this Terraform command, Terraform taint, is deprecated. The new way for us is to do a replace. Now let's type Terraform plan space hyphen replace is equal to, it will be our AWS instance dot Terraform demo instance 2. Now you have added the command Terraform space plan space hyphen replace equal to the resource name, that is AWS underscore instance dot the reference name, that is TF demo instance 2. Let's see what happens once we type this command. So for version above 0.15.2, you need to use Terraform hyphen replace command. So this is doing the same thing for us. So AWS underscore instance dot TF demo instance 2 will be replaced as requested. So now once we have added this command, Terraform plan hyphen replace, so we have given this ID as well, or the name of the resource that we want to replace. So it will just replace it. Here also you can see 1 to add, 0 to change, and 1 to destroy. Let's do a CLS command and do a Terraform. If you do a Terraform apply like this without giving the parameters, it will show you no change. So here as well, you need to do a Terraform targeted apply, just like what we did here. Let's go here and we will just do a Terraform apply and just hit enter. Now it is trying to replace it. Let's go back. See, 1 to add, 0 to change, 1 to destroy. Just hit enter by typing yes. That's it. It is going to destroy this 05. What happened? 0E55. Yes, 0E55. This one. It is going to delete it. So it is shutting down now. So now the refresh state is available to us. The code has been changed. We didn't need to deploy this once again, the whole thing once again. So that's a very big advantage for us. And that's it for today's session of Level Up for DevOps. And these were some of the most important Terraform commands. And I hope you found this session helpful and that you now have a better understanding of how to use these essential commands when working with Terraform. Remember, with Terraform, you can manage your infrastructure as code, making it easier to automate your deployments and ensure consistency across your environment. Consistency is very important because it has to maintain a balance between the current state that you have for your infrastructure and the desired state that comes from your resource configuration. And if you have any questions or commands that you want to learn, or if you want to learn more, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll get back to you in the next session. So I hope you're doing safe, you're staying healthy, and I'll meet you in the next one. Until then, it's Pythoholic signing off. Thanks for watching.